Hi, guys. I just wanted to get with you for a few minutes because I want to say that it was a great first week of classes. I really enjoyed meeting the new guys and seeing my old guys again. And you guys were fabulous. You did a great job. Uh, in both my puppy ABCs class and my puppy 2 class, motivation came up this week. And that's not surprising because without motivation, we have no training. No motivation, no training. That's how it works in behavior. So, of course, it comes up. And I loved the discussion that we were able to have around that. And I wanted to just kind of elaborate on that a little bit for you. Motivation is both simple and complex. And so I did just want to expand on it a little bit. Um, so I made myself some notes here. I was thinking this morning while I was in my continuing education class that I'm taking about motivation, because we talked about it in there as well. We never are not talking about motivation when we're talking about training and behavior. So by motivation, we're talking about that thing that your dog goes, oh, that is worth me doing this activity for. Because, dogs don't sit in the wild for food. They don't. To get food, acquisition of food in the wild means running and chasing. So we're asking dogs, we're paying them in food for things that they wouldn't do in the wild. So, motivation does matter. It does matter what we have on offer in that regard. But also in terms of a paycheck, it matters, right? So we have to make sure that our paycheck is something that the dog feels is worth the effort of energy and behavior that they're going to expend to do this thing that we would like them to do that they don't care about, which is my favorite part of it, really, is that it's about things we want and not about things they want. So we have to make it about something they want, don't we? So some of the things that we use in dog training for motivation are food, toys, access, interaction, and that can be interaction with humans or interaction with dogs. But mostly we are talking about food here because you're in class and you're with me, and food is our main motivator for a classroom situation, for most situations, really. There are a rare few dogs who want to work for toy play, but those dogs are tricky and it doesn't come up much. It really does not come up much. What does come up is people tell me their dog would prefer to work for toys, but then when offered those 2 items, they will choose the food every time. So some of you had motivation issues this week in class, and that is not surprising. Those of you with the teenage dogs in Puppy 2, I think about a high school classroom full of teens and how all they really want to do in the classroom setting is talk to each other and do social interaction and social flirting and all the things that they're doing at that point in their development. And so for the teacher, they have to find ways to make attending to the lessons worthwhile to the teenagers. And that is not easy, is it? Because we've got hormones in play. We've got brains that aren't functioning at optimal yet, just developmentally. And so there are some strategies that we can employ to help our thing be the motivation, or food be the motivation for the thing that we want. So things that matter: quantity. How much are you paying the dog? So, in puppy class, we've got tiny little puppies and we're going to use a lot of food. I'm using tiny little pieces. But I might, in some situations, use bigger pieces or use multiple treats. In Puppy 2, on the other hand, Our dogs are a little bigger and we are asking a lot more from them. Really, we're in a difficult environment with their best friends nearby. And this is the high school classroom, basically, at the raucous high school with a big class, right? So quantity, don't be stingy when it comes to quantity. Quality matters. Working for kibble is very different than working for chocolate cake or steak in the dog's case. In my case, chocolate cake. So the difference between asking me to do something for you with the payment of Wonder Bread or chocolate cake is going to receive a very different response from me. Your dogs are no different in that regard. Um, Novelty matters, believe it or not, it does. And you guys have seen this, you just didn't realize that that's what you were seeing. Novelty matters. And this is one of the reasons why my rewards that I carry around often trump yours in the classroom. And that's because you're bringing the same things. And I'm there once a week. And so it's new, it's novel. The first time is it's the most novel. So I make a big impact because the very first time they meet me, they're usually getting something that they have never had before. And that is wonderful. And I'm generous in terms of quantity. So I've got quality, quantity, and novelty on my side. So what that means sometimes for you guys is you'll buy the things that I'm using and then they won't work for you. So what can we do when it comes to novelty? We can employ variety because that matters as well. So pulling in something new every week and adding it to the mix and using your entire mix so that the dog never knows which one is coming up next. They're all great. So they're all wanted, they're all desired, they're all motivators. They're all good motivators, and I never know which one is coming. Casinos, hello. This is how casinos work. So novelty and variety matter, and I want you to consider that when you buy and prep your treats this week. And let me help you out. Variety. I mean, there is no end of variety out there in terms of dog treats these days. So there's all the things you can buy at the store here, the things you can buy on Chewy's. There's hot dogs, there's chicken, there's a bunch of different kinds of cheeses. There's deli meats, tater tots, meatballs. Gosh, there's just a lot of things. So really when you're out at the store and stuff, just even when you're not getting ready to buy your stuff for the week, think about as you're going up and down the aisles, God, would that be a good one? Would that be a good motivator? Might be. We're trying. It's worth adding to the mix because it'll be novel. And remember that novelty can increase value. Let's see. So basically, your motivator, your reinforcer, it's your reinforcer and your motivator, it needs to trump the level of energy and behavior that's being asked to be expended. So sits outside at the fairgrounds amongst the smell of deers and dogs that have been through there and foxes and maybe feral cats. And then also all their friends being present and me being present and all of those things. Your reinforcer, your motivator has to be better. It has to be better, or at the very least, good enough to convince your dog that it's worth putting their energy towards you. So what can we do? What other things can we do to increase our motivator? So we said novelty, quantity, quality, variety. In addition, tone of voice matters very much to dogs. A hard tone of voice will quickly become more of a punisher than a motivator. So a dog, you may be saying something sweet, but if you're saying it in a voice that doesn't sound sweet or happy or excited, your dog is attending to that, and you're likely to get less of the behavior you're asking for. Voice tone matters very much. It's another reason that dogs work well for me. Um, Distance. Employ distance if you need to. So if you're in class with me and you're really struggling, try moving further away. I'll come find you. Don't worry, I got you back. But try moving further away and see if you can increase the value of your motivator by removing some of the environment, by pushing it further away. And then difficulty. So here's the thing about class. The classroom situation can be very hard, especially for our teens. And so oh, Foxy. Foxy's motivated by barking at the fence um, right now. So that's what you're hearing. Motivated by the dog next door. Thank you very much. Difficulties. So even though you are in puppy 2, to learn to do harder and newer things, if your dog cannot do them in that situation, there is no reason to keep trying, which does not mean don't keep coming to class. Class absolutely has value because of the distraction level. But what it does mean is that you need to really reward big rewards for much easier behaviors. So if we're working on sits and downs and your puppy just can't do it, move further away and try luring sits and downs, not just asking for them on a cue or a hand signal, but going back to using your lure. I mean, that's what it takes. You can always do what we're doing in class at home during the week. And this is going to really, truly move you forward. If you make class easy and accessible to your dog, you will make progress. I promise you. I promise you that you will. Some other strategies that we talked about this week were bringing your dog hungry to class so that your food has more value to them. Sometimes this works in the opposite direction. It makes them anxious, which we don't want. And then we get this kind of anxious behavior instead. So we're always looking, motivation, it's moving. It's a constantly moving target that we need to look at all the time. So I'm there to help you with that. Ask me. I can't seem to find the motivator for my dog. Let me help you with that. So not feeding before. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes saturating on something is the thing that will increase our motivation. So for instance, dogs who are crazy about other dogs, sometimes we employ play. Sometimes we employ it before class. So they saturate on play, they saturate on the other dogs. Sometimes we use it as part of our reward system. Part of, not the only reward. We're still using food, but we can also segue play into our rewards. So if you're still struggling, we may look at that. And the fairgrounds has very graciously allowed me to net in that little arena that's behind our area. And so we will have that this week to use for play saturation. So, come a little early and get some play on. Come 10 minutes early and do some play. So let's see if that helps your dog. And remember that these are individuals. So one strategy will work for your dog and not for somebody else's. And we'll use a different strategy for that dog. Every one of you has an individual, and we have to approach their behavior in that way. Their motivation is very individual. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say? And thank you also for just listening to all of this. In terms of puppy class, I just also wanted to say that you are in this very, very important part of your puppy's development, this window for socialization that closes so quickly at about, somewhere between 12 and 15 weeks. Bam, closes, depending on lots of things, breed and genetics and all that. And so value, quantity, quality, variety, these matter very much. And, bringing a hungry puppy to class certainly doesn't hurt. So, if your puppy, if one of your puppies is just not making the kind of progress I think that they could make, I might ask you to increase the value of what you're bringing, because their kibble is not going to make the impression that you want to make right now during this developmental phase. And that's all there is to it. They may eat the kibble in the classroom situation. They may certainly eat the kibble, especially if you're bringing them hungry, but it will not facilitate the kind of emotional association and change that we are looking for at this very, very short and important developmental stage. So please, please do not stint on when it comes to the value, the quality, the variety, and the quantity. Bring several things every week and mix them if you need to, but bring at least 3 different things and make them new. Every week, something new added into that mix so that your dog doesn't know what's coming next. It's exciting for them. So that's what I wanted to say to you guys about motivation. I hope that this helps. I hope it helps clarify some things for you. And of course, we can continue always to talk about this stuff because it's my jam. It's what I love to talk about. And it does matter to your training. It really does. So have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you soon.